I also want to remind you of the loud silence from the international community. 2 weeks ago, there was a statement from every European Union, America, United Kingdom, every comment about Jubilee. Now that there is pressure on ODM, there is no comment.
There's pressure on ODM?
Yeah, of course there is, because they have abandoned all their platforms. Their first platform was land was unfair. Today there is a land commission appointed by the president. I don't know what they will say about that tomorrow. Today the Chief Justice has alleged a very serious matter. There can be no, at least Raila, William Ruto and Uhuru gave a statement in support of the judiciary. Raila has yet not spoken. He's quiet, waiting to play with it politics another day. Then the issue of rigging of elections. The IBEC have not even begun their work. They're trying to build confidence in the country, doing training and educational programs. Then you say you're going to rig the elections. The people are supposed to believe in what elections? Then you say you're going to win the elections by 60%. And all these things.
Yes.
Now, why I'm raising these issues, they're very serious. I'm raising these issues because if you say we respect the institution of the judiciary, then respect Muzendo Kibuja's commission. Respect the Inspector of Police, General of Police, and his institution. Respect Isaac Hassan and his institution. And I'm saying what is factual is that the ODM have a choreographed game with Western masters who want to effect regime change. And there seems to be a plan to put this country into perpetual panic. And something is going to go wrong in 2 weeks' time.
There used to be a man who criticized the Ronald Reagan and said that he had something called voodoo economics. This is voodoo discourse. I am shocked at what is happening today by the panelists. I think that we ought to stand by the right of the people of this country to make a choice in the coming elections. I think any kind of trivializing, any kind of little games to nilly-willy try and change the course of history of this country is absolutely false. The people of Kenya will reject it. I reject it. And let me say that the political party court, under the constitution of this country, has every right to make statements that feel when their political rights, when they feel that their political rights are in jeopardy, they have a right to make a statement.
So
they have a right to.
ODM actually has evidence that there was some rigging that was being planned.
There's the ODM is a coalition in a political alliance called Quad.
Yes,
they
Quad
made
has
an
evidence.
allegation.
Yes,
they made an allegation. In a political season like this, political parties are going to make allegations of what they think is going wrong. So they have a right to do it.
Should we take such statements
I think that let me just finish, Shamala. I think that in the democratic process, it is the citizen who is consuming these things. He ought to make, or she ought to make a choice as to whether these statements are valid or invalid, and make a choice based on the merits of the case.
Yes. Fred, you do not have a right to make allegations and wild statements which bear on the peace of this country. We don't have a right to do that. Okay? We're talking about lives of people.
How is it?
The last time we had an election, we were told that it was rigged. Then there was a delay in the release of the results, and tensions were heightened. And this is exactly what is going on now. A concerted effort to heighten the tensions so that if it doesn't go my way, it's, like I say, it's my way or the highway. Yes, Tony, and this is my concern.
Please, Tony, just a little bit.
You see, I want to be very clear. The people charged, among the 4 people charged before the International Criminal Court, is the former head of civil service, Francis Mudaura, and Uhuru Kenyatta. Both were charged with a conspiracy that Mungiki was used by the government to be given a corridor to go and commit revenge killings, retaliatory attacks in Naivasha and Nakuru. Those are the allegations before the International Criminal Court. Today, in the mouth of the Chief Justice, he's talked about receiving an email from Mungiki, and he talked about Kimemia refusing him to go out of the country. And he said that he is ready to die. In fact, he used the word, I'm ready to die to uphold the Constitution, giving the impression that as the highest judicial officer, he is scared of a conspiracy between Kimemia, the head of the civil service, and the Mungeki, who are scaring his life. That is to double score, triple score the charges which are before the Hague, end up nothing other than intimidating the Jubilee coalition and its supporters, making this country tense and nervous and playing into the tune of the foreign masters who want to effect regime change in favor of
I think that it's a canard to say that there is foreign powers who want to have a regime change. The regime change in this country is going to happen through a democratic process where Kenyans are going to go to the ballot box and they're going to effect regime change because they're going to elect the political party they feel best suits them and best represents their interests. I think that it is important that we tell the people of Kenya that any kind of fear, any kind of backward looking, any kind of assessment that people are feeling the heat of the voting strength of the people of this country, and to make excuses and to make slippery slopes comments is wrong, it is unjust, and is unfair to the people of Kenya. I really believe that we ought to wait and take the people of this country to the ballot box and let us see what choice they have to make. If you want to politicize the Chief Justice, if you want to politicize statements by other political parties to win an election, that's fair game. Kenyans can see right through it. Kenyans can see through Tony Kashoka's rhetoric here, but they will not let this country go down the drain because of one or two people who feel that they have a right over this country over the other.
Let me put a spin to this debate briefly. The Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta has now intimated that he will not be part of the second presidential debate, citing bias in the way the whole debate was carried out. What are your thoughts on this? And do you think...
Actually, to tell you my opinion on this is actually, I think that there should be a debate between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta.
Just the two of them?
Just the two of them. I think the first round, every of these candidates brought their issues on the table. This election is a two-horse race. It is between the Jubilee Alliance and the Accord Alliance. We should put them on television, and those two fellows should tell us where they're going to take this country. I think that Uhuru Kenyatta has every right to say, I'm not going to go and debate issues with Dida on the panel, because he, and let me remind Tony Gashoka's last statement about the polling. Of course, he now has seen how the polling has now come back again with Infotrack, where we have 3-4 points ahead of his political party. But Fred, just can I just make one last point?
Please.
One last point. I think that we ought to be serious. I think there is a debate in this country, and our job here is to make this debate alive. If we become hanky-panky, if we knit and pick, and if we politicize every issue that comes out of the system in this country, I think we're heading for trouble. I think we should respect the institutions of this country, and we should respect the people of Kenya. Tony Gashoka has no right to come to this panel and makes wild and serious allegations. And my learned friend here, who's a lawyer, ought to know that the Chief Justice is an important institution in this country and should be treated with some decorum.
Jennifer.
You know, life is about the choices you make. You can make your choices. If Uhuru Kenyatta feels that the debate was biased, so be it. He has a right not to be on that podium with the rest of the presidential candidates. And, you know, I'm sure he has a whole political team. They will discuss what are the pros, what are the cons of not being there. So that's a choice. You make that choice, you've made the choice. Then that's what I would have to say on that matter, really.
Briefly on the same.
Yeah, I think that the last debate degenerated into the same things we are discussing today, the ICC affair. And for a very long time, many of the questions being fronted were against or to the Deputy Prime Minister on that issue and that issue alone, both from the moderators and from the other panelists. If you look at the percentage of time that was spent discussing that, you never went again to look at the character of other candidates. You never looked at the character of Raila Odinga, the character of Musalia Mudavadi, vis-a-vis, for example, their baggage. And the point Uhuru was trying to make is, I've got a personal challenge, but I'm ready for the presidency. But others here have challenges. But the moderators never interrogated those challenges. So you came out there feeling as though there was a gang mentality towards Uhuru Kenyatta. And if I were him, I would only want to debate Raila Odinga and move away myself from the line of fire unnecessarily.
Okay. We got to bring down the curtains on the show. The director is screaming in my ear. All right. I'd promised earlier on that I was going to read some of the SMSs that you have sent. I have one that says, why did the Chief Justice fail on the due process? What an irony that the Mungiki who witnessed against Uhuru in The Hague now write to the Chief Justice for Uhuru. Kenyans are unhappy with the desperate moves. And then, let me see.
It's a good point. Or a bad point. I'll take it away.
I think politicizing the Chief Justice won't help us. We need to condemn these threats. It's better for him to go public, so the issue is handled openly with seriousness. Well, with that, I got to bring down the curtains on the show, and I must say, let's continue this debate. These are the kind of debates that are very healthy for our country. We have to have the attitude of debating every issue, putting every issue on the table and debating it so we can ensure that we have a great nation as we head towards the general election. Do have yourself a lovely evening.
Crossfire.